So this is our noon podcast. Whoa. It's noon somewhere, just like they always say.
We're never late. Right on time, right on time. How is everyone?
Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
It's been an adventurous week. Every day is a new adventure. Something coming around, like curveballs. And it is starting to be baseball season, isn't it? So.
Well, Shirley, what do you got to say?
Well, I did start a session on the quantum tool. So I am sending healing frequencies. And the theme for today is, again, chakras. I think we had chakras they're involved. They were involved in the theme last time. But they're definitely the theme this time, along with Taji poles. Taji poles is a Chinese medicine term for adjusting in and out, up and down, clockwise, counterclockwise, the constant flux that's happening. And I think that is the theme of the whole energy at this point in time right now. I think that smooth sailing if you stay on top of the waves, but there's a lot of turbulence underneath, and there's a lot of turbulence out there for each one of us as we move forward in our ascension process. And I think that's really a huge thing right now. Today, this month, March 1st, it's our anniversary. We've been 1 month doing this now. It doesn't feel like it, but we'll wait till we're 1 year before we pop the cork and celebrate. Who knows what 1 year will bring. Look what 1 month has brought us. So we're in a totally different place than we've been before, and it's really telling in a lot of sleep patterns, a lot of volatility. I see and hear people going through a lot of crises in their life, healing crisis, physical crisis, relationship crisis. There's just all kinds of energy pushing people. It's like pushing you down a chute, like when they're bringing the cattle to market and they funnel them down a chute, and it gets feeling tighter and tighter the more that you resist. And so sitting back and being an observer the best you can, and taking into account all of the emotions that are coming up in the body, all of the mental constructs and the mental monkeys that like to play around with your stability. You need to pay attention to all of those things and work your way through the best that you can.
Well, from my perspective, it was 3, 2, 1 on the timer. So it's like, let's ground this energy. And I want to share my experience since I'm connected. Well, we all are on some level connected into a collective expression of what's going on the earth. But anyone that is here experiencing a lot of turbulence, I really strongly encourage you to connect into yourself. Focus in on yourself. Even if you know that you are part of some bigger systems, move in on yourself, because you're the code breaker. You're the deal breaker when it comes to that flow. Because if you think about it, like, we are all working together in a collective energy, and then we break off into smaller, more focused, let's say, groups. So let's say your core shame, your core like dirtiness on the earth, that's very dense in energy. It's the last martyrism. Everyone's sitting at the Last Supper. Everyone's got some plate of food in front of them. So let's say yours is addiction, or let's say yours is abuse. Let's say yours is just straight shame. Let's say yours is shame with shaming your body, shaming the way you look. Let's say yours is like this inability to manage your impulses. Maybe it's like mental health. It could be anything. So focus your energy in on that, and don't necessarily work to, well, if you're called to heal it, go do that. But I really, really want to encourage people that the healing's done. We've spent our whole lives healing. Now it's time to release it. And you must ground in your body and accept that that is, even the ugly parts of it, that this is our plan, this was our story, and we're not only ready to release it, but we're willing to release it so that we may begin to open up another book and begin creating in that space. But I know from my perspective, oh my gosh, I have been, even today, I mean, there's probably going to feel like an off energy here, but I just, it's very intense. It's very intense, and through that intensity, no matter how healed you are, no matter how expanded in consciousness you are, it's still your human that's suffering. And so what I've been doing is just trying to remind myself that I'm okay, that I'm safe. I stay focused on the day. I stay connected in my heart. I connect with those that I feel relief from, that I feel supported by. I'm not going to necessarily connect with like people that I might be their support or I might be their guidance, because I need my energy on me. I am giving my body what it asked for, whether the doctor says that's healthy or not. I'm feeding my body with what I'm being asked to do, and I'm trying to tell myself I have nothing to do right now, nothing outside of what I have scheduled for the day. And for me, it's this 12:30 live, and then there's nothing. I'm just relaxing. I am taking care of myself, or I'm working on relaxing. I'm working on being okay when I don't feel okay. And if you don't feel okay, that's okay. Today is just a day to help you, connect with that it's okay to not feel okay. Because the earth doesn't feel okay. And if anything, that's you listening to the mother. And you're taking that in. And you are entrusted to process that, to transmute that. You are trusted. You are so great and so wonderful and so beautiful that you have been entrusted to work with the crust of the earth, so many, many, many other people can be released too. So release yourself of that and just allow yourself to just be who you are for the day. Feel who you are, feel through it. And then when things get intense, just take a deep breath. Work on that breathing. Maybe go work out at the gym. Go walk around the block. Go do some dishes. Or maybe just shut your eyes and turn on some good music and try to disconnect for a minute until you can come back to move back into it. But for some of us, it's tough right now. And if that's you, then really honor that part of you.
Yeah. I want to thank you for sharing your own journey this past few days, Jessica, because mine is different from yours, and ours is probably different from yours, but that doesn't make it wrong or right. It's simply where you're at in your path and the way you respond, the way you deal with things as they're coming up. And I mentioned last time that I would be using the pendulum to disperse energy, to break up blockages and obstacles. So I've been doing that while Jessica was speaking, because I felt that there were a lot of things that are different, that we don't really realize what you're going through, the intimate details of your life, but you know what they are. And you know that some of the things that you've tried in the past haven't helped you reach the pinnacle of success, of what you define success as. And so I can only re-emphasize what Jessica was saying about breathing, relaxing, giving yourself time and space, and realizing that in the larger scheme of things, what is going to matter most? What matters is you. If you don't take care of you, you don't have time to take care of other things and other people. So you have to be responsible to yourself, and taking care of yourself by breathing, relaxing, making time to everyone who asks you for something, and respect yourself enough to back off during this time. Because all along, like for the last 4 years, I think, every time I've ever talked or worked with people, I've said, well, the energies are coming in stronger now. They're coming in faster. Well, we've only begun. We're still continuing. They're going to continue coming in faster and faster. And last night we had 7 planets align, I think, and that won't happen again for I don't know how many years. In any case, that window of that planetary opening was a portal. And it's a portal to the things that you desire, the things that you want for yourself. So, and that will continue for, I think, at least a couple weeks maybe. In any case, setting your intention and focusing on what you want, not what you don't want, what you do want, what you want to see in your life. Sometimes you have to identify what you don't want in order to figure out what you do want. But in any case, if you end up with focusing on what you do want, you can achieve it. You can have it. The universe isn't here to punish you. It's here to reward you, to gift you with everything that you deserve. And so something that I forgot to mention earlier when I talked about the Q is that I have that charger, and today I charged, so you're receiving frequencies for grounding, which is really necessary right now, focus, peace, and joy. And if you want more than that, if you've identified something that you want in your life, you can personalize this by setting your intention, focusing on the word that you want, for example, courage or competency, and put it in the, what do they call that? Comments. Put it in the comment section below, and it will go on to the queue. I will see to it that it goes on to the queue for you and for the entire group. We'll all benefit from whatever it is that you select. So I encourage you to take whatever it is that you would like and enter it into that comment box.
Because then you're spelling it. I mean, whether you put it into the comment box, which is great. I mean, that's great for us. It gathers us as a community, as a collective. We are making our own collective as we're sitting and listening and interacting with each other in some way, shape, or form. But the other thing for you, it gets you in the mode of understanding that I can spell things out. I can change my existence. And I want to go back to what I've been experiencing. If I had been experiencing it 15 years ago where this was my way of dealing with these type of energies, what was I creating for myself? An escape. I was creating to get out of my body and do whatever that was for. But what are you doing today that's allowing you to be in your body? Because when you're in your body, that's where the magic is. That's where the feeling is. That's the juice of the wand. So when you spell out that, I want to feel this way. I want to do these things. I am this. I'm ready for that. I'm connecting to this. And you keep yourself focused and motivated in that expression, the energy naturally has to shape to it. So even from a psychological perspective, if I'm sitting here sharing things within myself, my mind, my spirit, my body that are motivating me to stay with it, stick with it, move through it, you can do it. I know what this is. I've done it before. I can achieve something that's greater or better or more desirable for myself. I'm going to then do that. I'm going to then move out of that usually the intensity of emotion that lasts for periods of time, right? And so the goal is to get those periods of time, if you're experiencing the density like I am, to reconnect with yourself. We were in a little disconnect there, but to reconnect with yourself. And that's actually, when I think about it, that is the algorithm, the universe saying, keep it simple, stupid. Just reconnect. Just connect with yourself. What would a therapist tell you to do? What would your mother tell you to do? What would your spouse tell you to do? What would your best friend tell you to do? You become that person and tell yourself that to connect. And you think about the 7 planets that are in alignment. Well, you don't think for one single second that's about the 7 chakras. 100 years is how it's going to take for it to realign like that. That is the idea of the earth. like
rotating.
That's what that is. And what else happened is Mars went back in direct. So instead of being at internal war, it's now motivation, courage. Like, what is Mars known for? It's like, let's get some shit done here. Like, that is the energy that's coming through, but you must bust through this retrograde stuff. This, I'm stuck to the past. I can't let this go. This is how I handle and I feel and I deal with whatever and whatever. You are allowing yourself, knowing in your mind that it's going to end. This is not, even from a therapeutic standpoint, this is not forever. I'm not going to feel like this forever. And allow yourself to move through it. So once you let that go and let that veil, because you're the veil. You're waiting for veils out here to drop. You're the veil. Once you let that one veil, and we have hundreds of them, you let that veil drop, then you can move through. You can allow yourself to see clearer and to do something that is more in alignment with what you wish to be feeling or experiencing.
I like the fact that you said right at the beginning that the healing is already done. It's completely done. And something that came to me this week was the fact that I've been waiting, just as we've all been waiting for what it is that we sincerely desire, and for knowingness. I wanted knowingness. And then I realized that it's always been there. Everything that I've ever wanted has always been there. It's simply that I have been denying the fact that it's there and allowing myself to acknowledge it. And once I did that, then things opened up. And I think there's a lot opening up right now for people. Particularly, I notice in my sleep time, you might notice it in a different way. But I come out of sleep with lots and lots and lots of wisdom and understanding. And of course, that's what I'm asking for, is wisdom and understanding. You might be asking for something totally different, but it will be unique to you. But try asking and try acknowledging the things that you already have, the healings that already exist, the things that are right in front of you that you don't acknowledge. Those kinds of things can be really powerful for you if you stay in the positive. Stay in the positive mode all of the time.
Well, here's another thing too. The dream state is unifying with our awake state in one way, shape, or form. And everyone will be a lot different, you know, as time moves forward and as the idea of the divine earth is fully grounded. But when you first wake, you're in a theta state, and theta is used to create. So when you're coming out of the dream, even if you are somebody that feels like you don't dream, just set your intention before you go to sleep, like, I would like to wake up with something. I would like to have even a word. And then you can build on that, because remember, anything that you take right out when you're just awakening, you actually, that's mom and dad that put your backpack on and said, get out of here, get to school, son or daughter, and then they gave you one kiss. Well, that kiss that they gave you is some type of word, some type of wisdom, some type of thought, some type of feeling, that magic that you just received from God, source, it, creator, because you're that special, you're their child, you're the chosen one, you just got it. And then it's about now bringing that into today in some way, shape, or form to support whatever it is that you're experiencing for a day, knowing that you got that very special juice box in your lunchbox and you're gonna get to drink it. You get the apple. Like, that's the snake saying, drink away.
So, now that we're reconnected for the second time, I want to play on that too, because sometimes I have a tendency to speak from the manner in which I get information. So maybe you get information, or you're very tuned to numbers. So you might notice what time it is you wake up in the morning, the exact time. You might notice an odor, a smell, a fragrance. You might notice whatever the first thing that you see in the morning that you focus your eyes on. It doesn't have to be a word that comes through your ear. It can be just a feeling. It can be any one of the senses that you have that is feeding you information. And what I find that I have done in the past is I go, oh yeah, and I just dismiss all of it. And I'm discovering that if I would pay more attention to the thoughts that pop through my mind, that's one of the ways that I get a lot of valuable information. Maybe yours comes differently, but you get it all the same. And the trick is we need to just start paying more attention to the things that are around us and as they come in. And I think that it's all real valuable. So whatever you can do, I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there who think they don't dream. We all dream. We don't all remember them, and maybe we don't need to. But if you just try focusing on what happens immediately when you have some kind of consciousness in the morning, maybe it'll open many, many new doors for you. That's what I would think.
And think of the dreaming like this. I mean, from what has been shared with me, again, in duality, we have dual states of being, of the awake state, what's considered the awake state, and what's considered the sleep state. And maybe the contractual agreement with your soul is that if you don't feel like you don't dream, is that the soul has decided to use that space so your will, or however much percentage, if there's always like a number version of it, however much percentage you release that, you relinquish that, and you allowed your soul to use that energy that you would have taken in the human state to do all sorts of other things. Because remember, the idea of the sleep state is that's where the soul creates. And so the soul creates in all sorts of different dimensional spaces, different time spaces. So it's a duality. It's a duality. But that doesn't mean that you then decided that in your life here on Earth, you were going to experience it in maybe the same way as Joe over here or Joanna over here. We all have agreed to do different things from our own soul's perspective that will help us in this life expression. So I noticed that as we were talking, the yin and yang card came out. It's 22.
And that's exactly the Taji pose symbol of the yin and yang and the back and forth. And yeah.
Beautiful. So this is, again, I'm using the Energy Oracle deck by Sandra Ann Taylor. I like this because it helps you set what the matrixed energy is that's coming through. And so even though we were talking about feeling like, what's underneath that is trying to bring in this balance. It's trying to dislodge what no longer grows here in this new energy, in this new space, in this new creation, so that you may allow the energy that has been brewing from within, growing from within, to finally come through, come out. It's the idea of the inward version of you. So like we've been living in the hell version, now it's time to live in the heaven version and be able to create from that space. So I was hoping that to bring in this balance and to close out this time that we're spending together, we could use it to recenter ourselves through our breath. So if you could, allow yourself just a little space right now to just sit. To just sit. And as we're sitting, if we can drop our shoulders, just allow ourselves to relax that tension that is in our necks. To allow ourselves to drop into our heart space. You might find it feels a little warm, feels a little safer, like time kind of stops and stands still. Because there's nothing for you to do right now. There's no place or space that you need to be outside of where you are right in this very moment.
Everything is perfect.
Settle yourself back in your body. Call it in. Call as much of your energy in as you can. Just ask it to stay present within you. to ground that body. Take a deep breath through your nose now. And I want you to hold it for 3 seconds. And then as you release it, release for 5 seconds. And I'm going to do that with you. We're going to take 3 breaths. So again, let's begin. Breathe in.
Just relax and allow it to flow. Be at ease with yourself. And imagine everything aligning as you breathe in and breathe out. And just continue in a peaceful manner, allowing things to flow just as they will, all for your benefit. Allow yourself to become whole and healed and healthy and joyful.
And it's that simple. Now, in 90 seconds, you may return to maybe what you were before. But this is an example, and also an example for me, that we have the power to recenter ourselves and give ourselves a moment, a minute, a second, maybe 15 minutes, an hour, to feel whole. We have that power, no matter what's going on within or without. And we just did that right now. If you participated in this and you're experiencing what I'm experiencing, you just showed yourself that. You proved it. You have that ability. We all do. And if it's something that's difficult for you and you're like sitting there thinking, well, I didn't feel that. Well, then try to go back and redo it. It's a skill. It's a skill, but we all have the ability to do it. How much do you want that? How much do you want to be able to manage yourself? Well, thank you for coming.
Namaste.
Have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Yes. Enjoy every moment.